October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, something experts say we don't talk about enough. Ariana Sackley McAdams is a therapist with more than 22 years of experience helping survivors of domestic violence. She's currently working with Amplify Health, and she's here this morning with us. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you.
Great to see you. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Why is it so important to talk about something like this? Obviously not the easiest of topics, right?
Yeah, so there's still a lot of silence and stigma around domestic violence, and talking about it, we hope, can make it easier for people to reach out and get help. It's important to talk about because it happens here in Wisconsin and also here in La Crosse to people of all ages, genders, races, income levels, sexual orientations. The other thing is that it impacts not just the survivor, but also their family, their loved ones, their workplaces, and our entire community.
Okay. And so we know that obviously there is a physical violence part of domestic violence, but that's not all. So what other forms does this abuse take?
Sure. So domestic violence is all about inequality in the relationship. It's about one person using a pattern of behaviors to try to gain and maintain power and control over another person. Okay. And they can do that with physical violence, things like hitting, shoving, kicking, biting, hair pulling, but can also include things like emotional abuse, verbal attacks, things like controlling finances, spiritual abuse, sexual assault, harassment, stalking, and isolating the survivor from their friends or their family members.
Okay, and so if someone does recognize some of these signs in their own relationships, what is the first step? What should they do?
Well, definitely know that they're not alone. So you're not alone. If you're being abused, it's not your fault. And help is available, both free and confidential help, through many different resources. It is important to reach out when you find a safe way to do that, whether it's to someone you trust, like a friend or a family member, or even to an agency that specializes in domestic violence assistance. So advocates at those agencies can help provide people with information, resources, advice or support, information, so that you can make a decision about what's best for you and your family in a way that's safest for you.
Okay, and if someone recognizes some of these signs, in their friends or family, that's obviously kind of a difficult thing. How do you go about that conversation, and what should you do if you're recognizing it in someone else's relationship?
Sure. So the first step would be to educate yourself about domestic violence so that you can understand more about what your friend or family member might be going through. Okay. The other thing is to understand that isolation piece, that abusers will often try to isolate the person from their friends and family. So staying as connected as you can in whatever way you can, and offering support when you can, and in ways that the survivor may mention that they need help with. So letting them take the lead. Really important to know that success doesn't always mean leaving the relationship. And even when someone does decide to leave, it may take multiple times of leaving for them to be able to establish a new life free of abuse. The other thing is that the most dangerous time for a survivor is once they've decided to leave the relationship, in that process of leaving, and after they've left. So very important to get help. The other thing is, if you suspect that your friend or family member is using abusive tactics against someone else, it's important to bring it up with them. Talk to them about it, encourage them to get help, and hold them accountable.
Okay, and what about resources? What resources should we know about?
So as many people, domestic violence programs across the nation had significant cuts to their federal funding recently. However, the community, La Crosse community, is still very supportive, and we are still extremely committed to providing services for survivors. There's a team of advocates at Amplify Health who specialize in helping survivors of domestic violence. We also have our own shelter, outreach center, and 24-hour crisis line here in the La Crosse community through New Horizons Shelter and Outreach Center.
Okay, great. Okay, those are great resources. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem. Stay with us. We're back right after this.